What are we doing right now if the buyer truly has flexibility around their closing date, and then the listing agent's one of those listing agents that is not really giving you any head start of how to put together a great offer? They're not being that communicative of what's important to their client. How are we communicating flexibility on the closing date? Are we just picking a date out of the sky and slapping it on the contract, or are we getting creative to put them in a better position? We're under the obviously assumption that normally a seller wants a closing that can go 45-day range, right? But if we don't know what the seller ultimately wants, and we know that we're competing against 3 or 4 or even more offers, and the listing agent hasn't said, hey, this is what my seller wants, because I hear that from you guys a lot. Well, the listing agent's not giving me any details. Okay, so now I'm the buyer and I say to you, the buyer agent, okay, you told me to go, 325 escalating up to 351. I think we had that example yesterday on a $300,000 property. This is as much as I can go. I'm gonna do that. What else can I do to win? What else can we do to write this offer? Well, I've talked to the listing agent. They're not giving us any information. They're holding their cards close to the vest here. So you struck out when you're talking to the listing agent. Now a buyer starts thinking, maybe I should call the listing agent. The buyer's like, maybe I should make a phone call, because you're telling me you're running up against a stone wall. How hard are you running into that stone wall? Are you going up and just kind of tapping it, or are you plowing through it for me? These are the thoughts that go through a buyer's mind. So if the buyer says, well, what else could we do to make this offer the most attractive? Could you have this conversation? If a buyer says to you, what else can we do? Well, we can look at our terms and conditions. Would you be open-minded to making a really flexible closing date? Do you have the ability to make an open-ended closing date so that the seller can pick the ideal date for them when we present this offer, giving them the feeling of control? If we're flexible on our end anyways, why don't we offer that up as an option to them? Could we write up seller to pick within a 120-day window? Could we write in the little box on closing date, see additional terms and conditions, and then write a sentence in there that says, we're open to close anytime within a 40 to 140-day window?
Our attorneys and our mortgage people are going to kill us for that.
But listen, attorneys hate anything that's not easy on their lives. Our job isn't to make the attorney's job easy. Our job is to win for our clients and tell the attorneys to do their job on the other end. The point of this is you'd want them, when they accept the offer, to pick their date. You don't want to leave it up in the air under contract. You'd have them picking the offer, but the offer, the original purchase and sale, is not often the one that gets signed, right? Very few times do we send in the initial P&S and boom, they auto sign it. Oftentimes there's changes to it, so the initial offer can reflect on a cover sheet or in the offer language. If you're not getting through to the listing agent, if I'm getting through to the listing agent, I understand what they want, then I'm going to put what they want on the paper if the buyer's willing to play. If I've got no clue, I've got to articulate somehow in writing our willingness to be flexible, our willingness to want to make a deal. And this is where we can really show the buyer that we're working every angle for them, okay? What Emily just talked about, hey, here are the concerns I do have with them picking a closing date for you, too far out. I'm giving you ways that you can be flexible and win. Here's what can happen if they take a closing date too far out. You could incur fees. Well, if you get the house that you want and you had escalation up to 351 and you get it for 335, it's not going to be $15,000 in fees. So we don't want to get emotional about the fees if you're totally flexible on the deal. And by the way, the interest rate could even go down. Right? There's some momentum right now. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not predicting that. I'm saying last couple of weeks, it has gone down. All indications are that in September, there could be a rate cut. So I'd be having all of these conversations. We had a situation recently where a buyer contract was sent over through e-signature and there was no conversations about the buyer agency form and some of the, details that ended up biting us in the ass later on. Right? So don't send these contracts over, my point is, without having a conversation about how you guys are structuring the deal, what all these elements mean, and the importance around them. All right?
At BAMX, we listen to what real estate professionals want and need. That's why our platform is filled with sought-after courses, content, and tactical assets for your business. And that's why we launched BAMX in a box with templates and scripts done for you, delivered each Friday. The best part? It's not coming from panel pontificators who bought their followers and don't sell any real estate. It's coming from top agents, team leaders, and content creators in the industry. It's education that actually shows you how to do what you need in today's market. And now it includes editable templates and scripts so you can easily deliver that knowledge to your database. Every day, we continue to add more content into BAMX, into our private Facebook community, content that works, content that our members have exclusive access to daily. Do not wait any longer. Use code Byron and join the thousands of agents taking their business to the next level today. Code Byron for 10% off. I'll see you in BAMX.